hated my cycle of sin that I was in. I had this secret battle of anxiety and depression that I just couldn't get rid of. Nights where I would contemplate my life. On December 25th of 2020, I thought it was going to be my last day. I had had an awful day. I had just told my parents that I was going to get a meal at Waffle House, but in reality, I'm thinking this is going to be my last meal. No one knew. I had basically set everything up to where after Waffle House, that was going to be it. Came into Waffle House and it was slam packed. Since I came alone, I knew it was going to take a while for me to sit down. And so I asked this random guy, I'm like, hey man, if we a party of two, we'll get to sit down faster, I'll pay for your meal. And he was like in his mid-30s. And he was like, yeah, sure. So I got him, we sit down at this table right over there. He starts dumping all his life issues on me, like starts dumping everything. It's like, my wife's divorcing me, she's taking my kids, and she's taking all this, blah, blah. And you got to think like where I'm coming from. No relationship with Jesus. My life feels hopeless. And now I'm trying to run away from my problems one last time. And I got somebody else dumping their problems on me. Like, it was awful. And I remember just kind of not paying attention to this guy, just eating. I'm just thinking, I can't wait to get out of here and get this over with. As he's just going in, just talking, and I'm just not listening. He says one thing that God used to change the course of my destiny. He goes, I love my wife and she doesn't feel the same about me. There's no growth in a relationship if the love isn't mutual. And when he said that, it was like all of time stopped. And for a split second, all of the head knowledge I had ever learned anything in Bible class, all these Bible verses I learned when I was a little kid, little stuff I had heard here and there about Jesus, time stopped. And like a cinematic film reel, just panning thoughts in my brain. I'm hearing Bible verse scriptures I've never even read before in my life in my brain. And I'm finally hearing the words and the affirmation that I had searched for in my addictions and in my sin cycles that left me empty every time after I did them. The one thing I had never tried was Jesus. And all I hear is that I love you and that I actually care about you. And I realized when that guy said there's no growth in a relationship if the love isn't mutual, I realized the only reason that I hadn't experienced God's love was he really loves me. I just never gave myself the opportunity to love him back. Started bawling my eyes out, and this guy was freaking out because he thought he said something that offended me. And I just threw the money down on the table, my cash for the bill, and I walked out and I got in my truck and I just said, God, if you're real, take away my anxiety and depression. And since December 25th of 2020, I haven't had anxiety or depression. That night, instead of taking my life, I gave my life to somebody who wanted it. I gave my life to Jesus because he actually wanted it. The very next day, I experienced a freedom I'd never felt in any of my sin. And since that day, I've been telling people about Jesus.